This is TWiT.
So, Zoom had a vanity URL flaw. This is literally what they call it. They recently repaired another glitch, which was discovered by, not surprisingly, Checkpoint. Those guys have been busy lately. Checkpoint responsibly and privately reported it to Zoom, and it was quickly fixed. After it was fixed, the world learned of what had once been a problem. I phrase it this way because I continue to see that the tech press appears to have fallen in love with the term 0 day. Now, everything is a 0 day vulnerability, even when it's not. This incident was widely being called a 0 day vulnerability. It never was. Those researchers we talked about last week, those two who disclosed severe vulnerabilities in CData's equipment, they created multiple 0 day vulnerabilities by irresponsibly going public with their disclosure and not giving the manufacturer any opportunity to respond, to fix the trouble and push patches. But Checkpoint and Zoom, working behind the scenes to fix a problem before it became publicly known, is not a 0 day. Vulnerabilities are not 0 days when they are fixed before they are publicly revealed. So I'm hoping that the tech press hears this because, you know, it's a catchy term. But, you know, if we start labeling everything a 0 day, then that's crying wolf. And when something actually is one, then no one's going to notice. So I hope we keep our terms straight. Anyway, it turns out that Zoom allows the use of so-called vanity URLs. And that's what they actually call them. The link that I have in the show notes is Guidelines for Vanity URL Requests. You need to register your intention to basically create a subdomain of zoom.us. The Checkpoint discovered that due to improper account validation, any meeting ID could have been launched using any organization's vanity URL, even if a meeting was set up by a separate individual account, which had no relationship to the organization. It's unclear from Checkpoint's disclosure whether there was actually any subdomain validation, though I assume there must have been some. I mean, I hope so. So what Checkpoint wrote to explain this is they said, upon setting up a meeting, an attacker could change the invitation link URL to include any registered subdomain, which is, you know, why it doesn't sound like there was much validation. For instance, they said, if the original invitation link was https://zoom.us, right? Regular, and then like /J/ and then the serial number for the session. They write, the attacker could change it to https:// organization's name, you know, like IBM or, you know, anything, Mozilla, .zoom.us /J/ and then the serial number. So a victim receiving such an invitation would have had no way of knowing the invitation did not actually come from the actual organization, IBM.zoom.us or Mozilla. So, you know, just a phishing spoofing attack, but wow, that shouldn't be allowed to just be done. So, as I said, it's unclear whether it was that easy. I hope it wasn't. And since it's fixed, it didn't merit any further digging on my part. I didn't care to go any further. But I noted that Checkpoint added an interesting statistic factoid at the end of their disclosure write-up. They wrote, it's worth noting that 90% of cyber attacks today start with a phishing email. They said to make sure you're doing enough to protect your organization's attack vectors, we suggest that you read the white paper, Humans Are Your Weakest Link, unquote, to discover the daily risk posed by phishing emails. If anyone's interested, you can probably Google phishing attacks put your business at risk. That's in the URL, or I have the URL in the show notes. So if you click it, they solicit your name and organization name and email address, but maybe it's worth it to you. I mean, checkpoint. So it's not like, nobody. And I was curious also just sort of to see where Zoom was in the ecosystem world. They're currently at 35.87% of the global web-based whatever they are, teleconferencing solution, 35.87%, GoToWebinar 22.44%, and Cisco WebEx at 17.18%. So, they're the biggest now, but they're not bigger than everybody else combined or anything like that. So still worth, they're in the spotlight because they're catching all the headlines, and everybody is talking about Zooming now. Apparently has become a thing.